Barnabas saying here from FightHype.com. I'm here with none other than the knowledge, Spencer Fearon. Spence, you're looking good. That beard is getting a little bit whiter though, man. What's going on?
Because that's knowledge, brother. You can't fight me down for having knowledge, brother. That's knowledge. Nice. I mean, yeah, it's not only that, but my missus, it makes you look distinguished. Keep it. I said, you don't want no young girls looking at me. That's why.
Spence behind you, obviously we're here for the workout for Dereck, Chisora, Dillian Whyte. Firstly, before we talk about the rematch, let's talk about our first fight. There's a lot of oohs and ahs and different people had their score differently. Talk to me how you had that score and how you thought that fight went.
I scored the fight in favour of Dillian Whyte when I was there. When I went home and I watched it again, I still scored it for Dillian Whyte. But then I recently just done the tactical breakdown earlier on today. You saw me and Andy Scott doing a tactical breakdown. So I've had to watch the fight quite extensively. And I could see an argument for Dereck Chisora winning that fight. I could see there was an argument there. But the fact is, it was a great fight. And the decision was the decision. It doesn't make any difference. The major thing is that the fight is happening again. And when you get great fights, there ain't really winners or losers. Even though there is a winner or loser, but there isn't really. Moralistically, there isn't really a winner or a loser.
And talk to me about this fight then. What do you see happening in this fight? Well, firstly, before I ask that question, in regards to Dillian Whyte, how much has he improved since the Joshua loss? And then even after that, the Chisora fight, how much has he improved since then?
He's improved and amiably, for the simple fact that he is now boxing. He's more thinking. He's become very, very cunning and very clever. So because of that, I will favour him to be victorious in this fight because he's the one with a greater momentum. You can't go wrong with, Lucas Brown. But the Lucas Brown was a very good win. But allegedly, Dereck Chisora was battering Lucas Brown in sparring prior to the fight. So I can't watch that to say anything, right? But the way how he administered the shots that he threw head, he threw body. I would say that he's got the second best punch repertoire in the heavyweight division. I'll give the first best punch repertoire to Tyson Fury, right? But the second best, I would say, is Dillian Whyte.
Okay, then, and talking about Chisora then, obviously, he's had a bit of a mixed career. Recently, he went to Monaco, lost there, but then he seems to be on a sort of resurgence. And then we saw the Takam fight where, you can say what you want, whether he was winning that fight or not, but
he wasn't winning the fight. Let's be real. Come on, let's be real. He wasn't winning the Takam fight. It wasn't a lucky punch though, because any punch that you could even shut your eyes and throw a shot, you purposefully and intentionally threw a shot to do something, and it hit Takam and he went over. But it was more to. But when you watch the fight again, the fight was a lot closer than when we sat ringside. So you sat ringside, you're watching the fight, you're thinking, oh my God, he's getting battered. But a lot of the shots, when he's on the ropes, he was riding the shots as well. He was doing some clever work in there. So, but he was losing the Takam fight. Let's not get twisted of it. But it doesn't matter. It's like you winning the first 100 meters and you're beating everyone, but it's a 400-meter race, so it doesn't matter. He got the win, and because of that, he should be commended for it.
And talk to me about this fight then. Well, how do you see this fight going? Is it sort of the last stage of Dereck Chisora's career? So how do you see him performing in this fight, and how do you see this fight playing out eventually?
How I see this fight, I think, bottom line, whatever they've got in the game plan will get thrown out the window, because it's more to do with they're going to get hit with heavy shots. The first time these guys sparred, it was 2008 at a Real Fight Club. Myself, Robert McCracken, Ambrose Mendy were there, right? Okay. And Dillian had no amateur experience at all. He was a kickboxer. I get a phone call from Don Charles. He's my good buddy, my long-time buddy. Good Don Charles, I love the guy, right? Don Charles phoned me, have you got anyone down the gym? I said, yeah, there's this heavyweight kid down here, but he's a kickboxer, not a boxer, but he can do some rounds. Dereck at the time is British champion. Dereck comes in and spars with him, right? They have a war, a complete and utter war. It was ridiculous, the war that they had. And because here was a man with relative limited experience in Dillian Whyte, you say he got the better of the spar. But since then, they sparred many rounds together. And because of that, the gulf in boxing ability and styles go out the window, because it's somebody that you know. So it's that familiarity. I see the same thing. Danny Williams in 2002, I think it was. Or 2001, he fights a guy called Keith Long. The gap was massive at the time. Danny Williams is like top 4 in the world in the WBA rankings, and Keith Long was far down the rankings, and yet he went out And brother, they had a war. So because you know someone, you're not scared. And what's going to happen here is more bragging rights. Because you know if anything goes wrong here, you can't go in the barber shops no more. You can't go into the West Indian food shops. You can't go down Portland Road and go into Blue Jays or into Bellyful, our West Indian prime spots, and say you're going to eat any food down there if things go wrong. So Dillian Whyte knows the importance of this, and so does Dereck Chisora, because Dereck Chisora knows like this could be last chance saloon for me. But depending on it's the magnitude of the loss. If it's a bad shutout and you get knocked out, either of them, it's going to be hard for either of them to come back, but it's how you lose. So I'm looking forward to a great fight, and because I'm looking forward to a great fight, I still got Dillian Whyte winning this fight, but I don't think it's going to be easy for him, because I think we're going to get now with Dereck Chisora is that applied pressure. He's looking in condition, and when you don't like someone like this, it gives you that extra oomph in the fight, and he's going to have that extra oomph while he's coming into the fight.